Fine, you're here. Fine, good afternoon. Can you remember what we did last?
We need IP.
Yeah, IP addressing, the home lab setup, and some basic scanning, your home network scanning. I think that's what we covered last week, right?
Yes.
So this week we will be interested in ports. We want to know what makes ports tick. Why is it so important to the hackers or the people who are going ahead of us? Why is it important to them? So while we're doing that, we will be putting up some examples on the board to see how we will go about it. Then, towards the end, we might be tempted to go into our Kali and do some random port scanning to see what we are going to get. And that we'll use that to close the day. Then, upper week, we expected to go into our penetration testing, our SQLI injection method, which we will use to penetrate the vulnerable system and see what happens underneath, how to go to get into the database, get the information we are looking for. Informations that are of interest, like the ATM card, the PII, the PI, personal identification details, PID details, then get some interesting details. If the contents of the basket, product basket interests you, then you go for it. For me, what interests me is wallets, um, ID cards, other stuff. So those are the items of interest of would be or a threat actor whenever he gets interest. You understand?
Yes. CG has actually reached out to me, said we should continue. That will join us.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks.
So, in the context of cybersecurity networking, first of all, ports. What are ports? We said that ports are crucial points of communication for devices on a network. They are crucial points of communication for devices on a network. Understanding ports and why scanning them is important, is very essential for both defending the system and conducting the penetration testing. So we'll break it down. What are ports or what is a port? So that a port is a logical endpoint in a network communication that allows devices to connect to specific services. You have HTTP that you want to run to access an internet service. It goes through a particular port running on any system on your system. Example, the web server or the email server, etc. So when two devices communicate over the internet or even on a local network means your home lab, your home setup. We say that they send data to each other using IP addresses. But for the data to reach the correct application, it is directed to a specific port. For the data to reach the specific application or service that it needs, it has to be directed through a specific port. So it's just like the doors in a house, several doors that are available in a house. For you to get into the room to go and sleep, you have to pass through the door that is in the room. For you to get to the dining or the kitchen, you have to pass through the door that leads to the kitchen. So Types of ports. We have TCP ports, and these are the ports that are in charge of, they are called TCP, Transmission Control Protocol ports. They're in charge of any connection that is reliable, connection-oriented communications. And they are used by services like HTTP, HTTPS, and FTP. This is going to come out in the ISC2 exam, this topic on ports. In fact, most of everything that is on ports is going to come out on the ISC2 exam. So you're going to do yourself some good to pay good attention and grab them. So the TCP ports, their properties is they are used for reliability, connection-oriented communications. And examples are HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, all those protocols that has security. Then we also have the UDP, User Datagram Protocol ports. User Datagram Protocol ports. And say that these are connectionless ports. And they are used for faster, less reliable communications. For example, when you are streaming a movie, you're not really concerned about whether the movie is or where the channels of the movie is coming from. Your own is you need to stream it without breaking. You need to stream it without breaking transmission or inside. So you need, and it's always faster. The UDP protocols are always faster. So the ports are divided into two: TCP ports and UDP ports. Then we go into numbers, port numbers. Ports are represented by numbers ranging from 0 to 65535, which we are going to find out once we run a scan soon. Now, inside these ports, we have some ports that are reserved, that are well known. Not as though they are reserved, but they are well known, and also some of them are reserved for specific purposes. So ports from 0 to 1023, they are reserved for system services. Example, HTTP uses port 80, HTTPS uses port 443. SSH. What is SSH? Secure shell. It is used for remote connections. Secured remote connections. So it uses port 22. When you scan your network or your devices, you look at the ports that are open. If they are part of the ones that are vulnerable, that makes your system vulnerable, you close them up. Or better say you know make it more secured by adding some security layers to it. So the well-known ports, we said, are from 0 to 1023. Then from 49152 down to 65535 are called ephemeral ports. So these ports are usually dynamically assigned to client-side connections, meaning as per use, as per need. Somebody you want to do something on your Microsoft, a port is made available and your system picks a random port from this middle and use it for that task. Once you are done, it drops it, waiting for another random uh, work. So these ephemeral ports are ports that are used dynamically and assigned to client side of the connections. So before we go into why are ports important in cybersecurity, any question? You can unmute if you have question.
No question.
No question. Okay. So why are ports important in cybersecurity? Ports are critical because they define what services are available or external devices to connect to. And each service listens on a specific port. How do you know that this house has a secret door that is under it, that is where money is? Every door is listening. And as they are listening, they are waiting for either entering or closing. So each service listens on a specific port, and open ports, the ones that are open, can potentially become entry points for attackers. But the ones that are closed, of course, the likelihood reduces. So why should we even scan a port? Why should we engage in port scanning? First, for service enumeration. By scanning open ports, you can discover which services are running on a device. Example, HTTP, SSH. Somebody asked the question last week if we're able to scan outside our private network. Who did that? Who asked the question?
What
It
question
was
was
Chooks.
that?
It was Chooks.
Okay. Okay. So he asked if we're the way we are scanning our home lab, can we also scan outside our home lab? Yes, as a security personnel or a pen tester, you are able to scan systems, but you are only able to scan them based on permission base. If you are given the permission to do that, else you are liable of visiting the police station. In fact, you most likely visit the police station because crime as low as scanning the system of another company or another industry or someone else without explicit permission leads you to see the police station. It's gonna be a call on your door. So if you ever want to, or someone asks you to, please scan for us, get a written note, signed and agreed upon, so that when such cases arise, you have an evidence to exonerate you. But in this practical, I will make available one of my websites that we can randomly scan. In fact, I called my CTO to get me one of our test applications that we can even scan the app itself or scan it. That reminds me, for those of us who might be wanting to do vulnerability testing, assessment, sorry, you might want to proceed to download and install Nessus in your system. Remind me later in the week or thereabouts so that I will share with you guys how that is done. Because with Nessus, you can scan websites, you can scan mobile applications. Once you have their APK file, you scan it and see how they stand security wise, see their posture security wise, then you can advise them outright. So that is just an extra stuff. So key reasons why we scan ports. First, for service enumeration, and we say that by scanning open ports, you can discover which services are running on a device. This is the first step for attackers or security testers to understand what they are dealing with. So before you, as a security personnel, before you go through a system to perform your analysis, you have to test first. You do scanning to look at what is open, what is working, how is it working. And attackers, when they do this, they use it to gain preliminary information about the system they want to attack. Then, once they get those informations, they now say, okay, SSH is open, but HTTP is open. Okay, this is how we are going to enter. This is how we can be able to attack all those kind of things. So they use the information they get from the first page, which is scanning. They use it to continue. Please, just for record purposes, is my image that I'm seeing, is it blocking the screen?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
But are you seeing my face?
Of course.
Of course.
I think I used to minimize it before. During the recording, it doesn't show. It only shows during the class. So the recording doesn't carry the face. It only carries the materials. Okay. The second reason why the the scan ports is to identify vulnerabilities, just like I said. Each service running on a port may have known vulnerabilities or even unknown ones. So scanning allows you to identify potential weak points in the system. Scanning allows you to identify potential weak points in the system. For example, an open SSH port could lead to brute force password attacks. For example, an open SSH port could lead to brute force password attacks. If this port is found open, the people or the attackers can actually construct a payload to attack this port. And with much activities, they can break it in. The third reason, first was service enumeration to know the service that is running. Second is identifying vulnerabilities. Third is attack surface management. If a device has too many open ports, it increases the potential ways an attacker could exploit it. What does this mean? Someone should explain it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Abi?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I said with the
I said with the
statement there,
statement there,
it says
it says
when too many
when too
ports
many
are
ports
open,
are open,
it
it
makes the
makes
system
the system
vulnerable
vulnerable
to attack.
to attack.
So for
So
this
for
reason, to
this reason,
protect
to
our
protect
system,
our system,
we should
we should
limit the
limit
open
the
ports.
open ports.
Yes. In fact, automatically most ports are closed, okay, or filtered. But when an enemy wants to infiltrate a system, once it sees one port that is open and it can pass through that port, then it goes to reopen some other easier ones. So when you scan and you find out that this door was not open before, why is it open now? Abi, did somebody open it? You will go and lock it because you never can tell if someone has deliberately left it open.
Open.
Yeah, you understand?
Yeah.
What about the second one? Kindly read it through.
Compliance and
Compliance and
adequacy. Any.
any
It said
the
organization
organization
often need to
often needs
ensure
to ensure
that only
that
necessary
only
ports are
necessary
open
ports are open
as per
as per
compliance standard,
compliance standard,
e.g.,
e.g.,
PCI to
PCI to
DSS.
DSS.
Scanning helps
Scanning helps
identify
identify
unclosed,
unclosed,
unnecessary,
unnecessary,
or risk
or
ports.
risk ports.
Fantastic.
Mm.
So one other reasons to conduct port scanning is to ensure that you are compliance liable. You should do that because when they come to do audits on your system and they ask you when was the last time, when they check your audit file, it's going to contain your scannings, your hardening process. And when you see hardening, it means hardening is hardening, how to make something stronger.
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 Yes. So organizations are often needed to ensure that they follow the whole compliance rules. Now, what happens when we scan a port? First, when you scan a device for open ports, example using your Nmap, you are probing that device to see which ports are either open, closed, or filtered. When you are probing a device to see which ports are open, closed, or filtered. So these are the kind of three results you're going to get when you run a scan. The result is going to come out either we've seen some results, so that some ports they are open, or no, these ones are closed or filtered. So open ports means the service on that port is running and reachable. If port 22, which is secure shell, is open, a service like SSH is currently running, and you could potentially connect via SSH client. And this is very, very bad. It is bad news for the owner and good news for the threat hunter. It goes vice versa. So when a software engineer sees a bug, he's like, God, I thought I've cleaned up all the old bug. When a bug bounty sees a bug, he jumps up, yes, I found a bug. Because he's going to be paid handsomely. So on the closed ports, no service is listening on that port. When you see a closed port, it means no service is listening on that port. The port is visible, okay, but nothing is responding. Then when you get a result of filtered ports, then it means the port is being blocked by a firewall or security mechanism, meaning you cannot tell whether it is open or closed. And that is a very nice one, especially when you get all your stuffs wrapped around a firewall. It first of all it keeps the scanners and the bad guys a little bit off because one, when they check, they won't get anything nice. They will not even see any result. They won't see whether it is on or off. They will just see it as filtered. But still, there are some solutions that help reduce the filtering level so that people could, or scanners or testers will go through and see, okay, behind that this thing is filtered. Look. Okay, let's go down a bit. Why you should scan ports, just like we already said. Scanning ports is useful for both the attacker and the defender. First, as a defender, it helps you to discover weaknesses.
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 Yes. So regular port scan helps you identify potential open and
Unnecessary.
unnecessary ports
That could be
that
vulnerable.
could be vulnerable. For example, a forgotten service running on port 21 FTP could expose sensitive data. So you see, there are some ports that are coming up frequently. 21 FTP, 22 SSH, 80 HTTP, 443 HTTPS. Those common ones, whether you're going to cram them or you're going to keep them at the side of your head, you better do, because it's going to take up like almost 4 to 5 questions on the ISC2 exam, and might also do so in other exams too. So they're going to bubble you so that they will know whether you know your ports, at least the most common ones. So what I used to do is, when there is a question about ports, of course I know some number of ports, and on the options, everyone that is there, I know them except one. And they're asking for another one we go do. Nothing won't tell me. Another one.
You
So
do elimination method.
exactly, yeah. So I know this one. No, I know I'm where. I know this one. I know this one. Then this other one, I don't know. Okay, now this one where they ask. So use that way and pass that one. Also, as a defender, it helps you to prevent unauthorized access. By identifying open ports, you can configure firewalls to close them or restrict access, minimizing potential attacks. Which network am I even using today? I'm using the Airtel 5G. So once you get into your mostly routers have those kind of back end where you could do all those settings. But if you're doing hotspot, there is very little you could do there. But if you're using a router, it's easier for you to see options and interface for all those settings and check-ins, apart from doing them remotely with your colleague. Then as a defender also, it helps you to monitor changes. If new ports suddenly open up, it could be a sign of unauthorized changes or malware running on your system. As an attacker or pen tester, the guy uses it to find entry points. Attackers scan for open ports to find entry points into the network. If they find open ports, they can target services running on those ports. Example, trying to exploit a vulnerable version of Apache on port 8080. Port 80 is running which services? Who knows? We've been saying it here. Unmute yourself if you want to talk. Port 80 is running which service?
HTTP.
Yes, fine. Yes, fine, you got it. HTTP, yeah. Port 22 is running which service? 22 is running which service? SSH. That's secure head, secure shell. Yeah, secure shell. Port 21 is running which one? FTP, File Transfer Protocol, port 21. So HTTPS is running on which protocol? On which port? You know the difference between HTTPS and HTTP? That S, that's secured.
That is secure.
Yeah. So it is using 443. Why this one that is not secured is using 80? So HTTPS is using 443. Which other one is rampant that they could ask about? I think DH something. Let's go down. We're going to see most of them down. So also for the bad guys, the attackers, they can use it to fingerprint a system by identifying the open ports and services. Attackers can figure out what operating system and software versions are running, helping them plan and attack. Example of common ports and why they are interesting. Why are they interesting? These are some of the common ports. So out of them, you will still find the ones that are going to come out in the exam. And not just for the exam, in life, you need it. Okay, number one is our Uncle 22, Port 22, which is
That's it.
running, yeah, SSH. Why is it interesting? It could allow unauthorized remote access
If
if weak passwords are used. Someone can remotely log into your laptop and lock you out of the laptop if there is port 22 running and open. Person can remotely run it out of your system. Then the second one, port 80, which runs on HTTP. Web servers can have vulnerabilities. For example, outdated web apps. Then the elder brother, which is 443, HTTPS. Secure web traffic, but might have certificate vulnerabilities, SSL and TLS vulnerabilities. It is secure, but there are some extra vulnerabilities it might have. Then we have 21, port 21, which is File Transfer Protocol, FTP. It is vulnerable to clear text password capture. If your password passes through this protocol, this port, it is open. It's not encrypted. Also, outdated implementations. So we have normally 3389, which is remote desktop protocol. This protocol is frequently a target by brute force attacks. They are seeking takeover on your system. Then we have 445, which is running SMB. Think this SMB should be something mail something. Does anybody know what SMB is? SMB. Server message something. Server message block protocol. So it's for servers. Please, whatever you are doing, um, do not shy away from seeking for assistance or help whenever you need it. You can always go to Google, go to ChatGPT. The main thing is once you get the solution, you will verify and add, not just copy and paste. You should be able to read to understand what you've seen. Okay? In fact, at some points, you might see errors from AI, and you know that this one is error. When you call it back to order, it refixes or recalibrates itself. Okay. So this SMB, service mail, what did we say is again? Server message box. So let's open the image to even see how it looks like. So it's used for messages and etc. It's used in many network services, and it is vulnerable to attacks like Eternal Blue. When you read up about Eternal Blue is a kind of attack that hit sometime in 20s, either 2010s or thereabout. But it's a kind of attack that hits this service. Then we have 3306 MySQL database service could also expose sensitive data if misconfigured. Then yes, 53 always come out too, and it's for DNS, domain name system. It could be vulnerable to DNS spoofing or amplification attacks. So these are some basic ports that might be of interest to the bad guys, even to the good guys too. Okay, how to use port scanning defensively to enhance security. Run scans regularly to detect open ports that shouldn't be accessible. Close unnecessary ports by disabling services you are not using. Use firewalls to block access to ports except for trusted IPs or networks. Then monitor for unexpected changes in open ports as part of your security posture. I think we've got an alert. Okay, 30 minutes. I hope it will take us even to the next link so that we can do a little of the practicals. So, on a conclusion base, it says ports are the gateways through which services communicate over a network. Scanning them allows you to identify which services are running, discover potential vulnerabilities, reduce your attack surface by closing or securing exposed portals. In cybersecurity, port scanning is one of the most fundamental steps in network reconnaissance, penetration testing, and securing network. So it is one of the most fundamental steps. If you know how to scan, if you include it in your skill set, it's going to help you a lot. And that was why I shared with us that sheet last week. Also take time this week to run some port scannings and some scannings also. Port threats. Let me see. Disable telnet. Okay. I'm checking something. I think I added few. Okay, read up these few stuffs when you get to them. These are just some of my personal added findings on my service when I was doing my port scanning. So you could read up this when you get the document down. Let's go straight to our machine. Any questions so far?
No question.
So this program, how user friendly is it for beginners, and also how do you assess the navigation from beginner level down to intermediate? You guys are already in week 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is how we start.
You said?
I said this is week 5.
Yeah, if I'm in week 5, that's a nice. Now down the mature.
Our jungle don't mature.
Yes.
At least the beginner class has actually been helpful. It has actually thrown more light to understand for someone who doesn't have a background knowledge before. I think going through the beginners class will be very helpful to expose the person to more of our more of the things
Foundations.
the foundations that you need to know, the things that you need to get familiar with before you enter fully. It's been helpful.
So hopefully, by the end of your post, what's it called, capstone project, with that little added knowledge on the hacking stuff, then you can now say, where do I really want to go after from here? Which aspect of cybersecurity do I want
If you want to go,
to
then you can now know where you want to face.
exactly? So if you want to pursue security operations center, then when you are looking out for programs, I will advise you do on-the-job trainings. But most times in Nigeria here, we don't get on-the-job trainings. Mostly, what they do for us is just recorded session boot camps. But try hack me and other stuffs. They are trying those platforms that we are going to push you guys into. They are trying so much to mimic what is happening on the real life, which if you use it as the least obtainable way or the least hanging fruit towards what is happening in the real life scenarios. If you use that opportunity and still look at it that way, you will have some level of leverage when you get to the real job too. But the real job, some of them do on the job training, meaning they can employ you, then train you on the job.
On the job.
Yes. Then also there are some companies outside the country that when they are doing training, but their training is they will use you to do the job while you are learning.
When you learn.
Yes. Most times too, they might pay you a little stipend, just like what
Like
they pay people who are doing internship.
yeah.
Internship, yeah. Just, but it's all right. We go there all right. Finally,
No
finally.
knowledge is wasted. You get to know more also.
Yes, yes. We go there all right. Finally. And I'm also aware of so many scams happening in the system and in the internet, on the social media about cybersecurity programs. Everybody is doing, come here, you do cybersecurity. At the end, they'll collect money and just send people videos. They can load them on YouTube.
Yeah.
They happen, no. They happen well. So first of all, we um, IF config, because this is like I told you, this is a new kernel that I installed. Nothing else is here. I've not even gotten any of
New
my.
system.
Yes, this is a new VM running here. Let me increase the. Where did I go again and increase preferences? I want to increase endpoints. Hold, okay, 10. Let me double it to 20. Let's see what we have. Apply. Oh, I think we have something bold now.
Yeah.
So my IP address is dot 178. Okay, and my subnet mask normally is on class 24. You guys remember the classes, right? A, B, C, and D.
Yeah. The IP classes.
Yes. I think you have double systems there that are echoing. How do you manage that? Are you doing some kind of recording? Okay. What else can we find here? Um, Now you've learnt about ports, your eyes will now be opening most times when you see ports to recognize them. At the time we are done scanning them, when you see an IP address, you see service, you see ports, you will recognize them when you see them. Okay, so the Nexus that is used for the vulnerability testing, I'm here. Sorry, Adrian. Nexus. Even before you go through the Nexus platform, I think don't worry, I'm going to do some kind of detailed video on how to get Nexus installed, maybe share it to you guys. Um, Let me test if the internet is working on the platform.
What's the Nexus file? What's it used for? Is it scanning also?
Yes, it's used for vulnerability scanning,
Yeah.
and also once it scans, it lets you know um, where this stands on the acceptability or acceptable standard.
Okay.
Does that. So why is accept and risk? Why is the connection not going through? I'm going through google.com and it's saying error. Hello. You have to check, also check if your machine has the required, what's it called, internet service. If it doesn't, you will be having challenge with your setup, network, network settings. Yes. Which, I'm on bridge adapter. So you should be using my internet service. Huh? Okay, let me check that. Disconnected connection has been disconnected. I think one of us was having issues with the IP addressing until you fixed the internet stuff. Who was that? I prefer it to be on the bridge network, bridge adapter. This Airtel 5G, I really have not yet understood the configurations. But the Spectranet automatically connects and it's easier for me to work with. So I've just switched on the Spectranet. So let's see the effect it's going to have. Meanwhile, our IP address from the what's it called? The Airtel gave us .1.178. So once I switch the internet now, I will rerun that setup and see what results we're going to get. So just a minute so that the stuff is going to re-switch. The internet is going to re-switch. Okay, let's go into the new link now. Yeah, most of the passwords are, so I have to start with that one. I changed that one, changed it first, then went on. I have like 12 emails, Gmails. So I have to go changing each one of them. Anyone I see any suspicious activity in, I will change it one time. So that's what I've been doing throughout this week, looking out for even LinkedIn, Facebook, all those platforms. I have to change them because when the person wants to log in, I'll get notification. I say, okay, so you even have this old pass, this one, and I have to update the password too. So it is very important for you to know the right steps to take when things happen, what to do, how to do it, where to get the results, where to get it from. Just like what happened, I think I did told us last week, BCJ. I can't remember who told us last week of the attack they got and how he went how he went through the process of deactivating such attack. It is all part of what we are here to do. Had they said I lock him outside the gate? No verse say I lock you outside the gate. So I'm just seeing your message now. Say I lock him outside the gate. Okay, so let's check whether our internet has refreshed. I am Okay, the username. One of the students in our group forgot his username and password, so he's going to be downloading a new. He's going to be reinstalling his Kali. So please, whatever you do, try not to forget your password. Else, you will go to join it 2 times. Maybe within the week when I'm relaxed, I'll pimp up my machine again, get us all my softwares that I need. Meanwhile, like I told you guys, in the Kali Linux inbuilt, there are a lot of applications you could use for assorted kind of jobs. They are all here. All here. See them? All of them. So they have, first of all, information gathering, DNS analysis, IDS, IPS. Just take your time, go through all these things are very, very handful. So there are stages you will get to, you start using them. How I use applications is let it be driven by need. Do you understand? Like, I don't just go learning how to use Nexus, but I want to scan a product or a network. Then there's a need to use Nexus to scan it. Do you understand that pathway?
Yes, understood.
Yes, understood.
Yes. So you learn based on need, so that it works. You see, this network went through the SpectraNet after I would deal with that Airtel 5G. Let me know what exactly is the challenge. So now let's rerun the IF config and see what we have. The last one on the first internet, which is Airtel, gave us dot what 178, if you can remember. It was
Yes, also
192.168.1.178. So let's check
seven.
if it's still the same here on this particular Wi-Fi router. Okay, it's changed. See, you see that it has changed, right?
Yeah, it has changed to 101.
Yeah, .8101. Meanwhile, Airtel was .1.178. This one is .8.101. So it also affirms the fact that wherever you're getting your internet from, it detects your IP addressing, at least for that time.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's go ahead to do the scan we did last week. Who can remember the the code? The one we did to scan all the network.
IB config.
So we've already done IF config. The one we did to scan the entire network. 5,000
Nmap.
I call it. Don't do expo 5,000 gone.
SN.
SN.
SN, yeah.
Okay. What else?
Enter.
What else? I should press enter. I have pressed enter. Okay. Funny enough, the code you gave, whether known or unknowingly, is actually a port scanning code. So what it actually did is it did a port scanning for the host, which is 8.1. So Nmap SN scans the ports on the router. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. I know you were not sure of what you said, but this particular code, luckily, scan is for scanning the router. That is not the full way I would have done it. I would have done it like this: Nmap S capital S um, P, then 192.168.8.1. Let me see. Should I put /24? Let me run it first and see. Let's see the result that's going to come up. Okay, now we have a more bigger result, right? Can you guys see?
Yes, yes.
So
Showing
let's
the ports that are
yes, the state. See, it shared it. Let's check the first one. So I will go step by step. So this one did the Nmap scan report for SN 192.168.8.1, and just by knowing, I already know that this is my router's IP address. So what we wanted to achieve first was to get the whole stuff that are in the network, which was supposed to be Nmap. We did it last week. Nmap minus SN, then the IP address of probably this particular VM 192.168 dot 8. Is it dot 8 dot 101?
1.
Is it dot 8 dot
Yes.
101? Okay. Yes. So when we send /24, then when we send it, it should bring out the total number of devices that are connected to the system currently, and we have 3 hosts. So Windows 1, Kali 2, the phone. Okay, the phone is connected to Airtel, not MTN. So the router is F3, so it's complete. It is complete. So that's what I wanted. I wanted people to call out. Don't forget at least these simple ones. Keep them in your head. The more you do it every day, that's why I say you should do that time step, that table, so that you'll be able to be scanning every day. The more you scan every day, your terminal will keep it in mind. You yourself also will start, keeping them in mind somehow. So that is for last week. Same for this week, where we are now talking about ports. This first one that you guys mistakenly got, the starting Nmap, the time, the report for the router. Host is up 0.011 seconds latency. Then not shown is 997 ports that are not shown. 997 closed TCP ports. They are on reset. These are the things that were not shown. Meanwhile, it scanned for the first 1,000 ports. There is also a way to make it to scan the whole 65,535 ports. But this one automatically scanned the first 1,000. And it says that 997 ports were closed. Remember what we learned about the ports now. It can either be what? Closed, what?
Open or filtered.
Good. When it's filtered, what is happening?
It means you can't even see if it's open or it's closed.
Good. Then what else is about it? It means that it is being
It
blocked
is
by a firewall.
yes.
Firewall.
Blocked by firewall.
Yes. It's used. They are using a firewall to block it. That's why you can't see whether it is in or out. It is open or closed. Sorry. So now it says that 97 ports are closed and they are TCP. What is TCP? We saw it in the class today. Transmission Control Protocol. TCP. Where is it, sir? Where is the document? One of the most painful thing is after doing this kind of class, and it's it goes into your head is nice, only to find out that the recording spoiled. It will pain you. It used to pain me most times. So TCP means what?
Transmission Control Protocol.
Yes, it can come out in your exam. UDP.
UDP is a User Datagram Protocol.
Good. So keep them in your head, man. Keep them in your head. So now the 997 closed ports are TCP ports. So now it now goes down to break it down. Ports, their states, and the service that is running on it. Port 23, TCP. That is using it is a TCP port, and it's port 23. What is port 23? Is running service called Telnet. Telnet is used for connecting remotely into the system, into that system, but it's not secured. The secured part of this Telnet is 22. And what is the name? Port 22, what is it running?
SSH.
SSH, fantastic. Then 53 is running domain service. It's still open. 80, just like we saw, running which service?
HTTP.
Good. So, he now gave us the MAC address. Shenzhen Toast Technology. So, as it stands now, my network is very porous. Because if anyone brute forces my telnet, it can pass through. If anybody finds this, it can pass through. You can find some vulnerabilities that are in my system. But of course, this is a test system. I did it so that we could be able to see them. Now, on my own times, I cannot decide to, if I want to hack myself, I will now go and start seeking for ways to hack myself. And that is why what you have on your home lab is more than enough to get you to a good level. So the second one I did, which is a much elaborate scan for the same network. Okay. I now found that even more ports. In fact, what I did was to scan the entire 65,535. So that's what my code did. Meanwhile, this first one only scanned the first what? How many? Scanned the first 1,000. We have three. We have 3 ports here that came out open. Then 3 plus 997 is how many? Nine hundred ninety-seven plus.
You said
997 plus 3.
plus what?
3.
1,000.
Good.
1,000.
So it's blocked. It told us that 997 ports were closed. Meanwhile, 3 are open. So this code, Nmap SN enter, only scans the first 1,000 ports. But the one below that I did, which is more elaborate, scans the entire 65,535. So we have 65,528 closed. Then how many that is open? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 plus 65528 is what? 7 plus 65528.
65,535.
Confirm, which completes it. So you know that it's actually doing what it says it does. So it also highlighted that 23 that was found in the first 1000, also highlighted 53, also highlighted 80, then goes ahead to highlight these ones that are open to. This one is used by Oracle stuff. This might be Microsoft stuff. I don't really know, but I have to. If I'm digging deep, I might want to go and check what are these ports that are open. Are they making my system vulnerable or not? Do I have need for them? If not, I will lock them up, close them up. At this time, I'm expecting that you guys should already build a good rapport with your own ChatGPT on this training, so that once you are here and you get to, there are some technical questions that you might want to have or you want to ask more and do more, you just ask it. ChatGPT will not, you don't look your face, it will give you work, it will give you project, it go tire, you go work till from morning till night, you go tire. So if you're looking for a work buddy, a coach buddy, make ChatGPT your friend. Eh, then at the end, it will pimp up your resume for you with the skills that you've acquired within the time. Okay, just before we wrap up, let me see if we're going to do. I think on Windows 2, to find out the network, the total network that is running, total devices that are connected on Windows, you could do net start minus A. I think so. I hope it works. Okay, it does. It shows you both the ports also and the protocols and the state where it is, the devices that are running. It's still listening. You see, the port is listening. This one even made it more fun. It is listening. The ones that have been established, it tell you that okay, connection has been established in this one. I don't think port 22 or 23 is open in the Windows. If I go and switch it on open and rerun this scan, it is going to pick it up and tell me and show you that port 22 is opening. You see, TCP ports are almost occupying in the first row. What is TCP? $5,000 going, gone. Transmission Control Protocol. UDP is what? User Datagram Protocol. So don't forget it, man. Don't forget. I'm going to ask you again before we close. I'm going to ask you again before we close. So this is it on the finding devices that are working on your Windows. So minimize this. Let me see if we're going to run one more scan. Yes, let us run a scan. We're going to run this scan on my website, the website that is outside this network. You guys understand, right? So that we can see whether you can actually scan an external platform. So first of all, how do we get the web address? We can actually do it. Let's do this. Let me test it and see. I'm going to do this. Instead of the IP address, I'm going to put the web address and let us see how it's going to respond. Whether it's still going to give us the right results. Are you guys with me? Because what I wanted to do was to go and convert the web address into its IP address, then use the IP address to scan. But just for doing sake, I'm going to just put in the web address directly. So we have Nmap minus small s, big S. Is that what I used? Yes, I think so. Then minus P minus, then we have www.bettermedicrecords.jms.com.ng. Enter. So let's see what results are going to come out. So what did this tell us? We got an error. What did it say? Can someone read it? Failed to resolve www.betamedicalrecords. It means no. Are you sure what you wrote is correct? Also, it means that why don't you give me the IP address? I'll work faster with it. So for us to even know whether what it's saying is correct, let's check whether this address is even working. We can decide to ping, first of all, to check whether a platform is active or online. You can ping it. If you ping it, you will get a response. How do we ping? Pinging is like saying hello. If the person is alive, the person will respond to you. So we are going to ping Google. When we are going to ping Google, it might the ping will go and send 3 packets. So you are going to expect the 3 packets to be received and also to come back. If we send them and they fell on the road or they don't complete, that means Google is not active. So we do ping www.google.com. Pinging google.com. Control C. So 11 packets were transmitted, 10 were received. I think the last one was the one I caught it. Meaning that Google is alive, it is on, and is reachable. Do you guys understand me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then also there is a way to be watching. If you want to ping yourself, maybe from your Windows, from your Windows you ping your Kali. There's a way to set up your Kali, I think with TCP DOM, so that it will be listening. If Windows pings it, it will show you that this person have accessed my. It has send a handshake to me. So now we found out that Google is working. So let's check whether this website is even alive. So we're going to go ping www. Let's give it a count. Ping let's say 5 times www.google.com. Let's see whether it's going to ping it for just 5 times. Minus, okay, count C. Counts 5. That C will be count. It's like how many times you want to count it. Enter. Okay. So let's see how many times it's going to count. It's going to ping it. We told it to do it 5 times. How many did it send?
Sent 1, 2, 3, 5.
And how many did it receive? 5 also. So 0
Received
packet loss.
5.
Yes. Meaning 0 packet loss. Everything is intact. Google is up and running. So let us ping that website now. Ping minus C, count 5 times www.betamedicalrecords.com, sorry, .jms.com.ng. Okay. 5 packets transmitted. How many received?
3 received.
Meaning something is blocking somewhere, somewhere. You understand? Okay. So now let us try. This is actually to let you know that you can actually ping or touch some systems out there, some that is not just in your network. I think my network was disconnecting. I'm losing
Yeah.
network. What's happening? Spectranet, that's just their way. Since I was with Airtel, I've not experienced this thing. It is back. So let me retry that Nmap again. www.betamedicrecords.jms.com.ng. This looks good. Why should it bring back error? If it brings back error again, we'll try to do it with its IP address. And let me check. It's still running, right?
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't come out and tell us error. Meanwhile, there are better tools to use to scan applications and websites. Just like I told you that Nexus. Also, we have Nikto. Some of them that are on the advanced programs too. So, but the need of this practical what these stuffs in the beginners program is to get the beginner's mind in tune with what is happening, getting prepared for the advanced programs that he will be exposing himself to along the way. So, with that, guys, we will be calling it a day today. I expect us, if you have not yet set up your stuff, try set up, get your hands busy. I've already given you guys some Nmap sheets. If you still need some codes, ChatGPT will be there. Get your hands busy, get yourself acquainted with these stuffs because they are very, 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 very important, at least to help you while you're on your way. So, if you are running a scan like this and you want to still run a second scan without disturbing this, you go to File, you go to New tab or New window, any one of them, which just still start another thing here. There's a command I'm looking for. I wanted to run, but it's all right. I will remember it some other time. So, any question, guys, before we call it a day?
No question.
Are you guys promising to go and do your practicals?
What
Are you promising to go and do your
I
practicals?
just need to do is just to make sure I set up my make sure.
I'm seeing something here. Say RTTVAR has grown to over 2.3 seconds, decreasing to 2.0. I don't know what that means. This thing I'm doing now, if you are doing it in someone else's platform, they will trace you. They will know your IP address that you're using to you do this. So they can trace me. If this is someone else's platform, I am traceable unless I come and start using VPN to block my IP and all those stuff. But if it's a
Just
company that is serious to catch you, They'll catch you, come and answer small questions in the police station. Why are you scanning us? Who sent you? What is your intention?
Oh, okay. It's not advisable to scan. The network is lagging.
Yes, I want to switch over back to the Airtel. Sorry about that. I've gotten back to the Airtel 5G. So you were saying something?
I said so. It is not advisable to scan someone else's platform.
Yes, now. Don't to. Unless
It
they
will
give
break the
you
ethics.
written, unless they give you written permission. Written, oh, if it is electronic, I let them sign it and say you keep your evidence to avoid. I tell you, I not tell you.
Okay.
So while I'm able to do this is because it is mine, and you guys also can be able to do this with mine because it is around for us in our environment here. And
Okay.
that will be that. So next week we will start the SQL injection. So get yourself prepared ahead of it. You come with your full attention so that you will understand the flow on how things go, so that you will be able to replicate the same results. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your
Okay.
coming around. Please, if you have eligible
Yeah.
people whose mind is to learn, and they're looking for what's it called, verifiable places to learn, you direct them to us. If they want physical, no problem. If they want remote, no problem. We'll take care of them, just like you have been taking care of. So have a nice weekend,
No problem.
guys.